Hey everybody, this is Josh Cook, aka Seizures Palace, and today we're about to do Song of Week number 30, and this one's called Dirty 30, because it's the 30th song. Let's take a quick listen and go through the walkthrough bit by bit, just to show you guys what I have here. To start, we have 3 synths that stack together for a melody, and at times only a couple of the more panned synths are used. Really basic saw waveforms for the most part, and then one preset to kind of add some glitter onto it. I just kind of mashed the 3 together. The original thing that kind of got this whole song started is this distorted organ. That sort of idea, and then the melody, just to give you an idea, sounds like. So that's panned 13 and 16 left and right, just based on the fact that one is high and one is low. And they just kind of balanced out well that way, I thought. And then there's the French lead that I use quite a bit and did on my first Seizures Palace album. So I showed you the distorted organ. Then there's this weird distorted layer together. Very distorted, which I always love distortion. Excuse me, the strings, I recorded this little part here and resampled it so it plays backwards, and that part sounds like this. And I did that through just resampling. Where is it? Gotta open it up more. Yeah, so it's already set to resampling. That's just the automatic default that I switched it to, I should say. So you get that there. Right before I started this, excuse me, I added in a crash. I might do a little like sweep up effect or something like that at some point, but right now the song's mostly done. I might go in and tweak a little bit towards the end. So I had a full kit drum loop. That sounds like, let me start with the kick. I made this in, what was it, kick 2. Pretty simple. And there's a bit of a layer once we go in deeper. This is just straight out of Ableton. It's the live click, I think. I realized this is still huge. Woo! Thought I'd start with it big and then zoom it down. I got so distracted. All right, and then a Madian style snare, some wide claps with some reverb. Full drum kit, side chained, transpose. It was a sample that I took, but I mangled it, especially in terms of the multiband dynamics. I was all over the place just to really get a squash sound. That's what I was going for, so I really crushed it here. An anvil sound. Is it Gefafelstein? How do you say that guy's name? There's some, I think, French. I might be getting all this wrong. I think some French producer whose name is something like Gefafelstein. And he has little like anvil sounds and other weird percussive sounds layered with his snare. I really dig his sound, so I tried that out. We got sub bass, a busy bass. The preset's called busy bass. I think it's an Echo Soundworks preset, and that's really filtered pretty steep in the low end. And I have a little bit of a bump around. I don't know, like 180. It says 140, but it's looking a little higher up. Offbeat growls, quite a bit of low end reduction happening here, and a lot of high end boost just to get that liquidy snap. There's the strings there, which are, I think, the widest thing in the mix. Yeah, widest or second widest, tied with the organ I was showing before this one. Anyway, I have to go back here to show you. This one very wide, and this was actually a little more narrow, but these two together really fill out a lot of the width in the stereo spectrum. And that's all of it put together. I mean, I was doing a lot of checking the BX solo for side and mid content. If you listen to it fold into mono, I'm losing quite a bit of the brightness on the sides, but I love So there's always that compromise, right? Of how mono do you want to make your mix? I do like the idea of it translating well to stereo. I want it to work well with headphones. And I wanted to say a little bit more. I don't want it to be confined by the idea of mixing into mono. But I did a lot of mono checking and decided to compromise just based on my own judgment. So here's the side content by itself. Quite a bit of stuff going on. We're not hearing the kick. We're hearing a little bit of a snare from the drum loop as well as the claps, obviously some hi-hats and higher content. And then some of the synths are leaking through, and then mono. I'm still getting a little bit of everything, but the highs are a bit subdued. And if I bring up those highs, then my side content is going to sound way too bright, right? So that was the compromise. I think it's sounding pretty good. And mind you, this is 7 decibels off with the mastering. If I just brace yourself, I'm going to put this back up to full volume here. So here's so you can see the RMS, the average volumes and everything. Here it is. I'll just show you the mastering settings as I go through. Not much excitement. Not much excitement. Just showing you what the imaging looks like on each band individually. I've been compressing the high frequencies the most, just because when a hi-hat really sticks out, it crushes you. So I'm getting to the point now where by doing this in my mastering frequently, I'm now starting to translate it into my mix, so I don't have to in the mastering. And that brings me to a good point. I think it's worth mentioning that if you start to notice something that needs to be fixed every time in your mastering, and this only really works if you're doing your own mastering or shadowing someone else who's mastering your track, but if you always need to boost a high shelf, like if you look here, I did do a little bit of a boost in the high shelf, but that's with me keeping in mind that I used to have a boost like this, so I'm getting much closer over time. What's going in weird stages here? Come on. Weird. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I'm almost to the point where I don't have to bump this up at all, and that's why I'm grouping everything. It's really nice and easy to be able to do a bit of a shelf on the melody based on how much high end you want, shelf on the organ, and then cut out some of the highs on the basses, that kind of idea. So that's just EQ, but if you start to notice that you always need to really gel together the sub frequencies in your multiband compressor, if you dare to try multiband compression, because it can take you in the wrong direction, in that case, maybe add is that my cat? What am I hearing? Oh, my cat wants into the bedroom. Another time. And then the sub-frequencies, as I was saying, if you keep squeezing those, you can do that in a bus the same way you drum bus. So that can kind of help gel everything together a bit. So I think it's just mostly about really double-checking your sidechain compression and making sure that everything already kind of gels together based on that. So yeah, and then the maximizer I'm not actually using on this track. I just went for the vintage limiter. I thought analog sounded the best. I really had this cranked down. We're at negative 0.1, left the character as is. And that is basically the whole song in a nutshell in terms of mix and in terms of the general composition. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. We're under 10 minutes. Woo! All right, so my name is Josh Cook, a.k.a. Seizures Palace. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends. I'm looking for subscribers like anyone else. But for me, it's about getting this information out and having some amateur producers or maybe people above the amateur level check some of this stuff out, hopefully get some tips along the way themselves. And if they can give me some tips too, if they're quite experienced, then I'm always open for constructive criticism and new mixing and composition techniques. So with all that said, like I said, subscribe, tell your friends, like, comment, all that jazz. I will see you next week. Peace.